Hello and welcome all to another chapter of my college experience. So I'll be talking about the exams I've had. I've had a media exam, 2 Welsh exams and my drama exam. Now I'm wondering how all this video will age when I find out my results. The annoying part about exams is that 5 minutes after doing them, I can never remember what I've written. So like my memory just sort of fades. And it's hard to think whether I've included certain things or not. Anyway, let's try and discuss them from what I could remember. My first exam was the media one on the 22nd of May, which was a Monday at 1:30. I got into college at about 11ish, did some stuff, and then revised for an hour. Then I got some food because I was starving and I didn't want to waste what little brain power I've got thinking about my stomach. So, I got a meal deal and some pens for the exam because we have to bring our own in. I went back to college.
Right, to jumpstart the ship.
Exactly. At the very least, it'll buy some more time.
That is brilliant.
I know. See?
And we're just sort of talking to other students doing media. Some of us were ready. Others not so much. I'd been using an app called Quizlet to learn every single media theorist. And I spent so long revising from it. More on that later. There was like 25 of them, I think. But anyways, all the info from my my media folder, there was a booklet on magazines, TV and video games. And I tried to simplify all these booklets into one book that my dog eventually chewed. Looking back, it was a huge waste of time, but I tried to simplify all the information. I spent like over a night doing it once. I genuinely stayed up all night for one night to do it, but I didn't even bloody use this thing, and my dog chewed it. But there we go. In the exam, we had to do 3 essays, 50 minutes per essay. Now last year, I was genuinely just bullshitting my way through media. If you've watched last year's videos, you'll know that I regarded media as the subject where, as long as you could justify it, it's correct, with a lot of overthinking. Well, this year it's been really hard. The exam was okay, I think, because it was about theorists that I already know of. I won't go into detail about that because unless you take media studies, you're not going to understand. So there's no point really explaining it. Now, I don't know how I've done on this exam. I think I covered it to the best that I could, but I've got this feeling in my gut that I could have mentioned more, despite the fact that I finished with 20 minutes left. So what I did was read through all my essays in the exam, and then at the back of the exam booklet, I asked the examiner if they could include extra information I'd written for each question, and I'd written an extra page relevant to all 3 sections. I did section A additional information and then written how I wanted to put and all that. B, D, C, D. So I think I put a lot of effort into the exam, but I don't know. I'm going to mark each exam out of 10 for exam content and 10 for how I think I did. So for the media exam, it was a brilliant exam. It was easy theorists. I'd say 9 out of 10. How I think I did, 6 out of 10, maybe 7. My next exam was on the 26th of May and was for Welsh. I woke up at about 9ish and I was at college A at about 10 o'clock-ish. Bit of last minute Welsh revision. And I bought 2 Doctor Who DVDs to treat myself. One was called Planet the Spiders. The other one I don't remember. But yeah, I went to college then and all was good. Actually, I do know. Silver Nemesis. So, I've got my second exam today. Well, I'm treating myself. I got 2 Doctor Who DVDs. So it was also payday today. So I got quite a bit of money going into my bank. And I thought, 2 exams, I'm going to treat myself. You've got to be able to treat yourself every now and again, haven't you? It works. Keep me happy. Keep me sane. But yeah, I had to be in College B for 1 o'clock. The exam was at 1:30, and we all headed down to the hall where we discussed and we were talking about what might be in the exam. Later then, we get the signal to go in, so we do. And, oh, I forgot to mention it in the media one as well. When you come into the exam, the first thing you do is you turn your phone off, if you haven't done so already, and you put your bags on the other side of the room with your phones switched off. So all you can have on you is your lanyard with your pass on it, pens, maybe water, a piece of paper with your name, photo and candidate number on it, your answer booklet from WJEC, and the question booklet from WJEC. It's a lot to have on a square desk, a small square desk. The chair's quite nice in College B though, much nicer than the chairs in College A. Much more comfortable. Fair play to them. Now, because College B isn't my primary college, they didn't have my details on a desk. Because what should happen is you enter the room, dump your bags, walk over to the chairs where you're going to be taking the exam, find your specific table with your name on it, and then you go. But because of my Welsh exam was in College B, there wasn't one, because I don't naturally go to College B. So I had to tell the invigilators who noted where I sat and wrote my information on a blank piece of paper on the table. Then they got everyone to write their information on the front of the booklets. That's what you got to do. I had to ask them for an answer booklet because they didn't give me one because they didn't know anyone was going to be sitting there. But yeah, by now it was about 1:29ish. The examiners go over the rules and say we can begin. Now that Welsh exam booklet was amazing. The questions are entirely in Welsh, so you have to be able to translate everything in order to know what to do. And I knew it all. There were a few words I got stuck on, like alw, which is I can't even remember what it means. But it was obvious what they were because I knew the rest of the sentence. It was like mae llawer o alw I ddefnyddio Cymraeg yn y gweithlu. Siaradwch am hyn. The question was something along those lines, but worded differently. I don't remember exactly how. But I didn't know what alw meant in the exam. But there's lots of demand to use Welsh in the workplace. Discuss or talk about this, speak about this. So yeah, because I knew there was a lot of blank to use Welsh in the workplace, you generally know what to do. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was a good question. That exam was amazing. It was heavenly. I answered all the questions. I answered them well, I thought. It was out of 80 marks, and it's 3 questions. Two 20 markers and a 40 marker. And then I had 20 minutes left over too, so I used it to go over any typos that I may have had. It's a good thing I did, because I did notice a few and I corrected them. It can be hard to correct a typo, because like it can be like yeah, just have to write it above in like very tiny letters, or write over it if possible. But yeah, I corrected my work, so the grammar's quite good, I believe, and I talked a lot for each question. Exam content, 9 out of 10. How I think I did, 8 out of 10. But yeah, it's hard to, like, this was like 2-3 weeks ago. I can't remember a thing about what I've written in that now, for any of the exams I've done. So, just come out of the Welsh exam, and compared to the media one, oh my god, I loved it. That Welsh exam was gorgeous. It was covered with all the topics that we've gone over. I was so confident with it. I finished like 20 minutes early, so I used the time to go over the questions. Well, good thing I did, because there was a few mistakes but I corrected them, so that's good. And yeah, so I finished my Welsh exam. Now I got work 6 till 11. Jolly. So far now, as I was writing this video, it was the 28th of May, and it was then half-term week. So I had a week to revise for the drama exam on the 7th of June, before my actual exam on the 15th of June. As I record this now, the exam's in 6 days, the Welsh one. Now, slightly irrelevant to college exams, but on the 30th of May, I managed to pick up another acting job on Casualty again. It was my fourth time on the show now. It's amazing. I woke up at 6. I was at Roselock Studios at 8. I did some acting. Waited around for hours. During this time, I was revising my theory test. Now, where we were in the BBC holding room, there was no signal, so I couldn't use many apps. But yeah, it's amazing. You just sit around. You're paid to sit around and do whatever you want. Luckily, my DVLA app was one of the apps that I could use with no signal, so I did. For dinner, in the BBC canteen, we had faggots and peas, which were very nice. I love being an extra in shows. You're paid to essentially wait around on set, so you could, revise, eat, play, talk, do whatever you want to entertain yourself, act on set for like 30 minutes to an hour, and then go back to what you were doing. And then you're paid between £100 and £200 for having done so. And the most important part, it's free experience. And you get to be on telly. It's amazing being an extra. It's phenomenal. Now, fast forward to the 4th of June. I got my drama exam in 3 days. Now, if you didn't hear me say it before, I despise the drama exam. I absolutely despise it. Because it looks easy, but I can't comprehend it. Right? We had to give back our books before half term that we borrowed from class of Joe Egg and Sweeney Todd. Now, our final lesson was amazing. Me and Loki had food from McDonald's for breakfast with my lovely employee discount. And we were just going over everything in class. We had a laugh. We collated all our books together. And we had Matthew... Well, Matthew either gave them in, or he stole every book and had to return them all. I'm going to let you decide. Look at him there with 4 copies of A Day in the Death of Joe Egg. How selfish. Anyway, we had our final lesson before I had to go to Welsh, and that was that. That was our final drama lesson. Fast forward to the 7th of June. It was the day of the drama exam. I woke up at about 7ish. Morning. So it is the morning of the drama exam. I'm actually really nervous for this one because last year I thought I did good at it, and I found out how I actually did at it. So, and it's exactly the same exam, but not with 1 book, but with 2. So yeah, kind of dreading that, but gotta do it. So there we go. Let's see if this year I can not fuck it up. I don't fuck it up. The bus arrived about 7:45ish, but there was traffic. And I was there worrying whether I'd make it on time or not, because the exam was at 9:15. So I had an hour and 15 minutes. But you go in 10 minutes early, so the examiners can give you the books and tell you the rules, etc. Can't run, that's too obvious. Can't walk. Speed walk. I managed to make it into college at about 9 o'clock-ish. I had 5 minutes to talk with my drama class, and we went into the exam. I made it with 5 minutes to spare. If I was later, I might not be able to sit the exam. So I've just made that. Loki lent me some pens, luckily, because I didn't have time to go to the shop and buy some. So, all good. Now, it's the same exam procedure. Go in, turn your phone off, bags on the side, lanyard out to prove your identity. They tell you the rules. You begin. Now, the exam is split into 2. Joe Egg, Sweeney Todd. The 2 books that we've been studying for the exam. It was a 2.5-hour exam with 95 marks up for grabs. Now, 2.5 hours is 150 minutes. 150 minutes divided by 95 comes out to approximately 1.5 minutes per mark. Better to round down because leftover time is great to check over your work. So this is how long I spent on each question. Well, meant to have, in theory. At about 45 minutes in, I had just finished the second question on part A. A? Can that be an A? Let's pretend that's an A. I've made some form of graph to understand this, to make it easier to understand, because I don't remember exactly how long I spent, obviously, but this is what I think it was like. So I didn't exactly spend my time how I probably should have. But the first part, I believe, was absolutely fine. Joe Egg was a nice exam section. The second part was hard, because the first part of the exam is worded specifically. Here is your extract, here are your relevant characters, this is what we want you to discuss. Try and include how it's relevant to a modern day audience. Okay. Not part 2. Part 2 was hard in that it was open-ended. We were allowed to pick 2 extracts of our choice of Sweeney Todd, a theme of our own choice, and mention how it's all relevant from a social, historical, and a cultural context. Nightmare. Now, I'm going to come clean, because that's what this series is about. I've read and watched all of Joe Egg, A Day in the Death of Joe Egg, but I still haven't read all of Sweeney Todd. And we haven't watched any shows of it, so that was hard. But I'm usually pretty good at bullshitting. I'm usually pretty good at bullshitting extracts, because it's all there in front of you. But you know what we got to go from. But we hadn't read it all. So nevertheless, I chose 2 extracts I did know, because we are allowed to have a clean copy of both texts in the exam, which is a copy of both texts, but no annotations on them. And I believe myself to have covered everything. So I think I did okay. The exam paper, I'd say 5 out of 10 for easiness, because the first half is fine, second half not. How I think I did, 5 out of 10. I stuck to the extract, for sure. I mentioned quotes and everything that the question asked of me, but the second half was hard having to come up with everything instead of being told what to do. Now that sounds stupid, right? But the past papers gave previous students everything they needed to stick to. Talk about these characters in these extracts with this theme, but not us. It's because they want us to go. They want to go back to how exams were before COVID, with no advance notice for exams, because my year was the COVID year, when we had no exams due to COVID. And we're not supposed to be told what extracts can be focused on in the exam, but they do, because we're the COVID year. Now, everyone in my class was in agreement that part 1 was fine, but part 2 was a nightmare. But even for those that have read the whole Sweeney Todd story. After the exam then, me, Tyler, Loki and a few others went to see our drama teacher to discuss the exam. Our teacher agreed that part 2 was grim, but part 1 was good. We all think we did okay, but I thought the same thing last year, didn't I? And if you've been watching this series, or if you're me watching this, you know I really didn't. We gave her some chocolates to say thank you for everything. I gave her some after 8s. I don't know what Logan gave her, but Shakina gave our teacher a present that was all wrapped up and everything in fancy paper, proper showing us up, you know. There we go. We all said goodbye to her, and then afterwards a few of us went to Wetherspoons for food. I had a large mixed grill. I had Loki pick my drink for me, so I had like a pineapple vodka thing that Loki picked. It was very nice. I very much enjoyed it. We were ID'd, of course, but I'm 18. So I wasn't breaking any rules. It was me, Loki and Tyler. We had some laughs, reminisced about the year, discussing what we enjoyed, you know, what was hard with all the hold-ups that we had, and with certain things and all, and what was easy to do with COVID, and that was that. After Wetherspoons, I went back home on the bus. Shemai, so today is the 7th of June. I woke up, I had my drama exam. I was nearly late. I managed to make it with like 5 minutes to spare before they called us into the exam room. I sat the exam and all. I finished with like less than about 2 minutes to spare, so I just clutched it. I don't know how well I did. I think I did okay. Not too bad. First half was fine, really easy. Second half was worded so bloody difficultly. It was mental. But the exam's over now. drama and media are over now. All I've got left is Welsh. That's on the 15th. So after the exam, me, Loki and Tyler went to Wetherspoons. I had a banging mixed grill with a pineapple was vodka? I think it was vodka thing. It was very nice. Now I'm just on my way back to get the bus. Overall, it's been a really good day. And I began updating the script. Oh, and the day before today, so on the 6th of June, I bought another Doctor Who box set. Because rewarding myself for an exam works. That's what makes me working at my job bearable. Because being able to work and spend some money on myself it's amazing. You know, being able to have some time spare, maybe going out for the occasional meal or buying something I want on top of driving lessons, that's what makes my job bearable. It also works as a bonus treat for working hard, because yes, the grades and the... So my final exam was on the 15th of June, and it was a very busy day. I had to wake up at 6:30, and my mum drove me to college for 8 o'clock-ish, because I had to get the taxi for 8:15. Oh. Yeah, I had to get a taxi for 8:15 in order to be at College B for 9 o'clock. Shemai, so it's the morning of my final ever exam in college. I've revised. I think I'm going to be alright in this exam, to be honest. I think I'll be okay. So I'm just now on my way to get some more pens, because I've only got one. And in an exam, it's best to have a couple in case it doesn't work. But yeah, in about 20 minutes, I've got to get the taxi to College B, where I'll be sitting this exam. The exam is from 9:15 to 11:15, I believe. Yeah, because then my taxi booked for 11:30, so yeah. Yeah, that's going to be that, and who knows how it'll go. Where I'd be doing the final exam, the final Welsh exam, and the final exam for college overall. Now, this was the final time that I would ever be having a ride to College B. The day before, which was the day before yesterday actually, I had to say goodbye to the person I normally taxi share with. But there we go. I arrived at College B and I saw my Welsh teacher. We went outside the exam hall and everyone was talking about what they hoped would be in the paper. Everyone was our teacher was going over things like what's 10:30 in Welsh, Hanna awr dig, and like what's third person plural and so on, which is trydydd person lluosog, which is them or nhw. Then, before we went into the exam room, our Welsh teacher had me and Millie, the girl I did the Welsh oracy with last year and this year, right? Because College B never has our tables ready with our candidate numbers and names on them, right? Then our Welsh teacher explains this to the invigilator, who says that there's no Welsh exams going on in this hall, despite the fact that there clearly is. And all the rest of the class, where College B was their main college, had their sheets ready on their tables for them. The man looked about 85 though, so being an invigilator must be the best job in the world for him. Like, just sit there and freak students out, just sitting there, watching them do their exam. Anyway, once everything was sorted and everything was all perfectly fine, everyone was allowed to come into the hall and find their seats. Everyone's answer and question booklets were handed out. Now, also then, the rules were read out, and I found it quite funny because the examiners, they clearly haven't updated the rules since like the 90s, because the examiners tell you to remove the battery from your phone as if you've got like some sort of Lego, phone that you could actually remove the battery from. But if I tried to remove the battery from my iPhone 11, I don't think I'd be able to put it back the same way somehow. Just somehow. But anyways, I digress. The examiners go through the rules and they say we can begin. We were off. Now that exam was quite hard. It was 5 questions. The first one was about ysgrifennu am ailgylchu, writing about recycling and why people should do it, etc. Then the second question was grammar. I was good at this, I believe. And then the third question, which is section B onwards, was relevant to the big story, the story vow that we've been studying, called Pwy beth a fydden Metal? Who would be Metal? Now, the first part, you had to imagine that you were the robot in this story that takes place in a dystopian future Cardiff, where this robot servants and the government and the police want to kill the old people and the homeless. It's a very bizarre story, but it's not a bad story. You had to talk about how you, as a robot servant, were being treated badly by Non, who is your owner. Now, that was actually quite fun to do, to be honest. I rather enjoyed that question. Then we had to look at the extract given to us for the next question, and we had to talk about techniques asked by the question used by the author in that extract alone. Now, these techniques were long and short sentences, use of negative language, iaith negyddol, and another word, I can't remember what it was, meaning exclamations. Now, I didn't know what this word was in the exam, and there was no way of working it out, because unlike the last exam, shower or alu, if you look at the last one, there was no sentence around it to work out what the word would be. As a result, I only knew 2 out of 3 of the techniques. But in the exam, I guessed. I thought it meant paragraphs. So I probably won't get marks for that bit, but I hopefully will for the other 2. Our teacher thought that was a bit of a nasty question as well. Then the final question was like a sort of Avengers Endgame sort of thing, where they would give you an overall theme, and you had to talk about where that theme was relevant in as many things as possible. This could be poems you did last year, things you watched this year or last year, things you read things you read this year or last year. Basically anything that you've watched or read outside of the classroom or inside the classroom this year or last year. So films, TV, books and poems, essentially. It was a summary of the last 2 years, in a way. It was mental, though, because the question specifically mentions a theme, a big theme, which was relationships, perthynas. But then the question narrows it down, because the question specifically said it's got to be between people and how someone can have a negative effect on a relationship, which significantly lowers the amount of points I could make. I did manage to make quite a few, but this was still a hard question. After the exam was up, I finished like just in time too. We discussed how the exam went, and people began to leave the college. I said goodbye to my Welsh teacher, and I walked out of College B for the final time ever. Being taken back to College A via the taxi for the last time ever. It was really sad because now college was effectively over. I finished college now. All that work that I've put in over the last 2 years, all these videos I've made, it's all over. And I've completed my courses. Now, if I had to rate that exam, I would say 4 out of 10 for exam content. And honestly, 4 out of 10 for how I think I did. I did not like that exam at all. But if I didn't do great in it, it's not the end of the world. Because last year I got a B overall. This looks like a D for me, because it's reversed for you, it'll be a B. Yeah, I got a B last year. I think I did great in the RSC and good in the exam before this one. So, anyway, once I got back to College A, I began to look around for the final time. I've been here for 2 years now, and apart from to pick up my results in August, I'll never be going there again. I printed out, I don't know if you could see this, but I printed out my media course book that I did for a laugh. I talked about the creation of my media in this video. But I printed this out for a laugh. And then I walked out of college for the final time ever. Walking out for the final time. I'm gonna go the long way. college. Goodbye. I mean, it's not the last time I'll ever go in there because of results day, but it's the last time just being able to go in there and have a look. Do you know what I mean? I got the bus back to my house and I had my 25th driving lesson, which didn't exactly go great, but it was, I'm still learning. Now, I want to talk about something else as well, okay? I wrote this actually yesterday night. Yesterday night. No. I wrote this actually the night before my March exam, right? But lately, I've been burning so many bridges that have summarised huge chunks of my life for years. Like, for example, I've been going to my acting club ever since the age of 7. But now, that's over because I'm 18 now and I'm going to university. I did so many shows for them and now that's over. I made so many memories at my acting club. It was amazing. There is still a small chance that I'll be doing another year at my acting club, but it's very unlikely. Yeah, come here, Reg. There we are. But yeah, also, ending with my final show being a main part, Chicago, is a nice way to go out. Do you know what I mean? I built my way up from being in the background to having a main part. That's a brilliant way to go. But it's still a bridge that's likely to be burnt. Furthermore, I've been attending Boys Brigade for years now. This was where I used to go on holiday in the summers, known as camp. I made quite a few videos on this, even though we stayed in hostels, so we weren't camping, but there we go. Well, I used to really enjoy going, but as I got older and new people joined and I had work, so I was also not going to Boys Brigade because I had work, I didn't really make friends with any of them. Especially because quite a lot of people in Boys Brigade could be feral. But anyways, to go on camp this year, it was going to be £175. Me and Mum were going to split this evenly, £87 each, right? But, well, plus money to spend from me, so I'd be spending about £120 for the week. Especially when the one person I mainly talk to, Nate, is going to the National Theatre thing that I mentioned in this video, because he got into it when I didn't. For those who haven't seen that though, where I discussed it, here it is now. He got in, I didn't. I'm really happy for him, but he was hit with a £500 payment to go as well. So you had to win the chance to pay £500 to go, which I think is a bit ridiculous of the National Theatre to not mention it beforehand. But there we go. You could argue I'm being a bit of a sad loser, but to be honest, I am glad I didn't make it because I wouldn't be able to afford the 500 even if I managed to go. Even if I won, I wouldn't be able to afford it. But it's still a lot of money. Now, I like to think of college and life in general at the moment as a web. You know, everything is interlinked somehow, and by breaking one of the strands, you're harming something or causing inconvenience. And finally, the end of college is a huge bridge built. I've made so many amazing friends over the last 2 years, but going to university is going to be a huge slant wiped clean. Right? And I am petrified because it is all new and I hate newness and change. I really do. I don't adapt well. But there we go. I haven't got a choice. Then this little segment is a bit random, I admit. Burning bridges, what are you on about? But I feel like it's relevant to college and my overall college experience because, well, it's the end of it. This video takes you up to the end of the exams. There might be one more before I collect my results if enough happens. If not, then the next video will be my results. Yeah. And then university next year, where I'll be doing my university experience. It's going to be terrifying, but I'm going to document it all because I love doing it. And yeah. But anyways, that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good day. Don't forget to drink hot chocolate. Stay safe. We've done it, guys. College is over. This series is very nearly over. Good luck with any exams you've got left or whatever you've got to do. And goodbye.